Good evening, Bearcat fans. It's James Ernest and Mark Fightmaster for UC Bearcats on the prowl. Mark, what have those Bearcats been up to?
Well, Bearcats had a bye week, which is good because they're heading into Big 12 play, so they need to, get prepared for that. So hopefully, Satterfield and his coaches got a game plan together for this week against Kansas because they are headed to Kansas and the game is at noon. So
That seems like that would be a good thing with it being at noon. So
Mhm.
that way it's not, too early, too late. Something comfortable for the players. Because the neat thing was, I was at the not Louisville, I was at the Miami UNLV game the other
Mhm.
day, and UNLV came off kind of slow.
Mhm.
But then I started thinking about it. I'm like, it would be like 9 o'clock their time.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, you're not going to start fresh when you're playing. You're playing at 9 o'clock.
Mhm.
Fortunately, we're not doing anything weird like Kansas playing them at 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock their time, which would make it 10, 11
Yeah,
hours. So that's a good
yeah.
start to it that
Mhm.
they are playing at a reasonable time. The other interesting thing is going into Kansas's record. Kansas currently is 3-1. They played some
Mhm.
decent teams: Fresno State, Wagner, West Virginia. They beat all three of those, and
Yeah,
then they lost to Missouri. So Missouri's only been their only road game. Do you feel it's more
yeah.
ability level of Missouri, or do you feel that they're having trouble on the road?
Well, probably a combination of both, but I watched Missouri this past weekend. Gosh, who did they play? Can't remember who they played. It was like another SEC teams, and I'm just like, oh, you know, they're building them up. It was South Carolina.
Mhm.
And Missouri's good, but I think part of it was that Kansas was on the road, and playing there as well. So probably a mixture of both.
So, like we, kind of started going into Kansas's pretty solid team. That's why I think it's going to be a tough game for UC.
Mhm.
What do you think?
It's going to be difficult. If you give any credence to the ESPN matchup predictor, which I actually do, they do a decent job. It's like 69.2% odds that Kansas wins. And I think it's because I think the big thing is it's going to be the quarterback play. Daniels, their quarterback, Jalen Daniels. He's pretty good. I mean, he's solid. He's what we got here. Trying to see. He's thrown for 817 yards, 12 touchdowns, two interceptions. His QBR is 12th in the country or 14th in the country, I believe.
Mhm.
So, so he's good. I mean, he is solid. Actually, that might be the conference because Sorsby's got an 89 and he's sixth. And I don't think he's sixth in the country. I think he's sixth in the
No, he's
conference.
definitely not that.
Yeah. So
Yeah. So, does he kind of remind you of Sorsby because he's a dual threat? I think.
yeah, and I think he's honestly faster than Sorsby, and that's my concern. He can sit back there and sling it with the 12 touchdowns and the 881 yards. But I do worry about if he gets out of pocket. UC's defense is a lot of things. One of them is at least across the front line is they're not fast. The linemen, the ends, and I think the linebackers are going to have some trouble containing him. Yeah, the DBs have good speed, but if we're relying on our DBs to tackle the quarterback, he's going to be 10, 15 yards downfield. So I worry about our front seven, kind of holding him in check.
What do you think about our linebackers? They've had some good games this year.
They have. I really think they have. I think they're more geared for the run, which that's not necessarily a bad thing, except that the Big 12 isn't a run heavy conference all the time. Kansas, maybe they run and they feel like they're having success with it, or they feel like they can get away with it. And then, yeah, the linebackers have a chance to play the run well, which is what they do. My concern is when they drop back in coverage. And it's not that they can't keep up with the tight ends or they can't keep up with the running backs. My concern is that they're going to be able to track down the quarterback as he gets out of pocket. Because think about it, if they're playing man or even if they're playing cover two with the zone and the linebackers have, flat responsibility or they have out responsibility or even deep middle, they're going to be in they're going to be 10 yards away from the quarterback, 15 yards away from the quarterback. He starts running, then they got to catch up, and they may not be able to.
So you
So,
feel they'll be able to contain, say, maybe Highshaw and Williams, which I find that funny because how he's Daniel Highshaw, so Daniel and Daniels. So
yeah,
I know it's kind of something little, but I think
yeah, no,
it's funny.
I do think they can contain them provided they can set the edge. I think if we can get the edge set and funnel them back in the middle where the linebackers are at their best, yes, I think we can contain them.
And they got two big threats there with Sean and Cam. I feel both of them, they've both scored 3 touchdowns this year.
Mhm.
So they're looking pretty tough.
Yeah, they are. I mean, they're good. So they're a good team. We'll see how it goes.
So that's kind of interesting with them coming off of a bye week, you see. There's not as much
Mhm.
to talk about. There's not really anything to go into because the week before that really didn't give us much with the 70 to
Right.
nothing. I mean, you definitely don't learn
Right.
nothing there.
No, that was like two bye weeks in a row, so but I mean, we'll see. My concern is this, James, is that Satterfield and his preparation. I hope that, they come out a little bit better um than they did at the beginning of the year. I mean, because if you look at that Nebraska game, a very, very winnable game, and Nebraska just took Michigan to a four, to within 4 points, and
Yeah,
it's just, I mean, and if you look at that Michigan game, Nebraska scored what it was 31-27 was the final. They put 27 up on Michigan, and Michigan's supposed to be known for their defense.
exactly.
Well, UC held them to what, 20?
20. So UC had better
Yeah.
defense. Yeah,
Yeah, at least in that game, they had a better scheme. So, it's going to be interesting to see. I'm trying to think of the best way to say it. If the offensive side of the ball comes out the way that I expect the defensive side to come out. Maybe that's the best way to put it. The defense was eminently more prepared in that opener. And granted, defense early in the season is
exactly.
usually ahead of the offense. It's the old adage. But maybe with this bye week, the defense, will come back out fast like they did against Nebraska and see and hopefully the offense can be there. Hopefully Satterfield's got his side of the ball prepared.
Definitely. Now, we both love college football, but the thing that drives us, you're probably the same way, drives us the craziest about college football is the fact that they don't announce times until
Right.
like the last freaking second.
Yeah.
Because, shoot, I'm already looking at the fourth and the 11th, when UC's
Mhm.
back into town, and I want to know, hey, is that going to be an early game?
Yeah.
Is that going to be a late game? Is it going to be give us
Yeah.
something?
Yeah. Yeah. And we got what everything's to be determined the rest of the season.
Hmm.
You live by the TV contract, you die by the TV contract, which is a bummer. And then of course this week it's on TNT.
Yeah,
Um,
that's just
uh,
weird.
what is this? AEW wrestling? It's football. Not used to TNT having football. So
Exactly. It does feel weird. But they've kind of they've been expanding and doing new things. I mean, heck, they end up losing
yeah.
the NBA, and so they had to do
Yeah.
something with the football because you
Yeah.
need some sports. So
Right, getting in on it was a good move for them. So, I this weekend I hope the Bearcats can just, come out and play hard against them and see where it lands. This is one of those Big 12 games where it's kind of like you got a group of like 8 or 9 teams, like UC, West Virginia, Kansas, Kansas State, TCU, Baylor, and they all are just kind of right there. They're
yeah,
very similar. They have similar skills, and you can throw those, well, let's even say just 6 or 7 teams in a like a blender and come out with the same thing. So
yeah.
it's just this is one of those games that if the
There's a lot
team
of
is
parity.
going to take that, yeah, Yeah, exactly. If they're going to take that next step under Satterfield, this is a game they have to win.
Exactly.
Now, will
Because if
they?
they
Don't know.
don't, then yeah, then that puts them in odds of not making a bowl game. It puts them in odds of losing or Satterfield getting let go. So it puts them in a bad place. It puts them behind the eight ball. And the other thing,
Right.
like you mentioned, West Virginia there is part of that scrum, that part of that group that's kind of waiting to either go up or down. And
Right.
West Virginia got beat solid by Kansas.
They did. They did. And as we talk about those teams, I said West Virginia. I would say um, Oklahoma State is one of them. Baylor is one of them. Arizona's 3-0. BYU's 3-0. TCU's 3-0. The one Central Florida is 3-0.
Yeah,
And I mean, those are games that are going to be tough for them. So if we're looking at possible wins to get what they're 2-1 to get to seven, you got to win this one. Got to win this one, or it's
exactly.
going to be really hard to get bowl eligible.
I agree with
So,
you. And
yeah,
then, like we've been
we'll
saying,
see.
Repeal, if he's not eligible, it's going to be hard to keep the job.
Yeah,
So,
and who knows? Maybe Luke Fickle will be looking for a job.
hey, that would be fun. I would not complain about that. That would
I
be fun.
wouldn't complain about it, but man, would there be some unhappy sponsors in the red sweater section, right? I mean, come on.
It would
If they brought him
feel a
back,
lot like what happened with Xavier recently. Didn't
yeah,
they just get their guy
Sean
back and
Miller.
he left again?
Yep, Sean Miller, and he left within 2 seasons. That would be
Yeah.
my concern. The thing that kills me. I don't know if you saw this article, but there was an article this week about Kurt Signetti, the coach at Indiana, who he was like from some small school. I can't remember what it was, but he was on. He wanted the UC job, but
Oh, wow.
UC said you haven't had a Power Five conference job before. No, thank you. And what's he done? 2 seasons in Indiana, he's got
Doing
him
phenomenal.
killing people.
Hmm.
Because he hit the transfer portal hard. He hit it correctly, and now what they just played, they beat in Illinois 63-10, but in Illinois was rated ninth in the country. Please, I have no idea how that happened. Um, That's like how Clemson gets ranked every year, which, if I could speak personally, seeing Dabo Sweeney just flame out is beautiful. So can't stand. But yeah, so supposedly Kurt Signetti was really wanted the UC job, but now he's at Indiana and flourishing, so that's one we'll never get.
Exactly.
Um, but we'll
So we
see. This
talked
is
football. We need to know about the lacrosse before we let
a
you go.
lacrosse game. Yeah, they actually beat OU 9-5 on Sunday. Sorry. They looked good, James. They have two freshmen who are really contributing a lot. One of them starts on defense, and I don't know his name because my son didn't give me a ton of information on him. Then the other one who plays a lot and contributes is actually Cade, my son. They've got him running long stick midi, which people who know lacrosse, it's a position where you you can run the whole field, but in reality, you're an extra defensive stick. And then when possession is secured, you come off and another offensive player comes on. So it's a fast paced game, and sometimes it's tough to explain what the positions do. But that's what a long stick midi does. So they won 9-5. Their player coach. He scored two or three goals. And then they're really good on offense. They were a really good offense. And then I will say this, Cade, when he was on the field, brought a level of physicality that wasn't there when he wasn't there. He took out two people. He got on within the first 10 seconds. This kid tried to get the ball, perfectly legal hit. Cade sent him flying. And then later on in the game, there was a kid from OU who was kind of chirping and being, like a little pest, and he was probably 5'8", 5'9" and muscular, but Cade picked up a ball and was going to clear it by running it up the field. Well, that kid was coming at him. Cade saw him coming at him. Cade paused so the kid could catch up, and then Cade ran him over. So it was
Nice.
fun. It was fun. No, you know what? It was a really good atmosphere. A lot of parents at the game, a lot of family members watching. It was right there in Getler, which is where the soccer team plays. But it was good. They have their next game isn't until October, and it's at Kentucky. But they after the game at Kentucky, the next weekend I think they play at Xavier's Field, right on Victory Parkway. So a
You
little
definitely
crosstown
have to keep
showdown.
us up to date on all this because I wanted to go to the game, but then I missed up my time on Back to the Future. I thought Back to the Future was at 2:30, and it
Uh-huh.
turned out it was at 1. So, oh my gosh, I would have been so mad if
Mhm.
I would have got there at
Yeah,
2:30 and the damn thing went over.
yeah, yeah. It, I people who are interested in just watching lacrosse, I will encourage them to come out because it's laid back, because it's a club sport. It's a player coach, there's not a coach. And this is just the fall leagues. There's only like 8 games. They play in the spring, and that's when they probably had 30 kids on the team on Sunday, which is a lot because you only have 11 on the field, and
Yeah.
really they don't sub a ton, so that'll get whittled down when in the summer in the spring season, which is going to be that's the one where it's like okay, that's the NCLL, that's a lot of games, tournament, and all that stuff. So, but it's fun.
Sounds great. Sounds like they're off to a good
Yeah.
start. We got the big game this
Yep.
week in Kansas at noon. Like you
Yeah.
said, on
Mhm.
was it
Yeah.
TBT or TNS or TBS or TNT?
TNT.
TNT. Oh,
TNT. Yeah. So I just, James, my hope is that they can come through and win this. My concern is that they don't. But we'll see. That's why they play the game, right?
sounds great. Well, as always, it's been James Ernest, Mark Fightmaster for UC Bearcats on the Prowl.